Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie if you're new here. I'm a mom of 4 little ones under the age of 6. I am a stay-at-home mom and homemaker, and we homeschool our kiddos too. So today I am doing a different style of video, just kind of a fun voiceover and taking you guys throughout my day. Now this day looked a little bit different than my typical day, but I still did, the typical housework and everything, but I definitely had the day kind of to myself. We did a little bit of homeschool with Noble, and then, throughout the day, Taylor ended up taking all the boys. I have a 5-year-old boy, 4-year-old boy, and then a 1.5-year-old little boy. And so he took the boys with him, and they went and got a rick of firewood, and typically they will just fill up our car, every single seat. Sometimes he takes out car seats and stuff, and he will fill all the seats with firewood because we don't have a truck. We just have a SUV style car, and so that's what they did, and they just kind of piddled and ran errands and kind of had a fun time. And so I really had the day to myself just to kind of do some cozy homemaking. I made myself a wonderful little Americano. I lit a cozy candle that my mother-in-law gifted me for Christmas. I love toxin-free candles. They are so nice to burn in the wintertime. It just really makes your home so cozy, and it's not something that's going to stick around your house. With me being a minimalist, I really enjoy things that are consumable, and candles are one of those things that I love. I love to burn candles in the wintertime. It just makes your house smell so pretty, but also it's one of those things that, once the candle is burned through, you can recycle the jar, donate it, whatever. So I ended up putting Ivy down for a nap. She is my 2.5-year-old little girl. And so it was just me and her today. And it was really just, she was napping pretty much the entire time that the guys were gone. And so I decided to make some sandwich bread. Now this bread recipe is linked on my blog. I finally got it posted over there. And I have been using the sandwich bread recipe for probably 3 or 4 years, and it has just been my go-to. My kids love it. My husband loves it. It is so yummy. I wouldn't say it's like the most healthiest bread, but at the fact that I'm making it at home makes it way healthier than a store-bought bread, in my opinion. So this is just like a white loaf, and it really is the fluffiest, lightest sandwich bread, and it doesn't have a really thick crust. It's honestly just so perfect. You can either, heat it up and just make it as toast. You can do French toast. You can make sandwiches with it. I mean, this bread is so versatile. Sometimes I like to even just make it and have it for dinner, which that's kind of what my plan was for this loaf. I really wanted a loaf of bread for dinner that we could just add with our meal. Kind of an easy side that also will fill up the kids. Now, this recipe, I actually have quite a few tips that I typed up on the blog post for this recipe. Now, I've learned warmth is the key to, honestly, the best bread rising. If your home is really cold, you want to make sure that you have this bread dough rising in the warmest spot in the house, as well as make sure that the water that you're, putting your yeast and sugar in is quite warm. You don't want it to be lukewarm. You want it to be warm to where it's almost hot, but not hot, if you know what I'm saying. Because that yeast really needs a warm environment to feed off the sugar. And this time I decided to try honey. I've done honey in the past, but typically I will do sugar, but I wanted to do honey, and it worked out totally fine. So I decided to have my dough rising over by the fire. That's the warmest spot in my house. And this was actually right before the guys left. So I'd put Ivy down for a nap. I was getting Roy ready to go, so that way he could tag along with them. I was hoping he would take another nap in the car while they were out. but he ended up staying awake the whole time. But here I am having my little quiet time. This is so important as a mom of 4. I love to make sure that everyone in the house is getting a quiet time. After lunch, usually around 12, everyone will go down for naps or quiet time. My boys don't nap anymore, my older boys. They will usually play outside or read books or do like something at the table, but we have to have a quiet time. It's so important. So I was making sure the fire was stoked and going so that way the stove would have a warm enough environment. So that's what I enjoyed. I'm actually working on a course that I'm taking, and so that's usually what I have been spending my time doing, is working on that course. So now that my dough, I let it rise for about an hour and a half, and I let it go a little bit longer just because it is wintertime, and I just wanted this dough to have the best chance at really just feeding off that yeast and rising. And so I did let it go a little bit longer, which that's kind of what I recommend. If it doesn't look like it's risen to what you want, then just give it time. And then so I punched it down, shaped it, and now it's going to rise for another hour. And I did let it sit a little bit longer, and it worked out perfectly. Usually in the summertime, this loaf will rise like astronomically. Like, it's a huge loaf in the summertime. But in the winter, it looks a little bit smaller, and that's okay. So yeah, I decided to open it up. That way I could get the most heat for my dough. And I love having a fireplace. You guys, this has been a dream come true, living on this little homestead, buying our house for the first time. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but this is a kind of a ranch style home, and it's on almost 9 acres. And this has been a dream come true for Taylor and I, to raise our kids on land in the country so they can just roam and just be kids. We lived in town, and, we were formerly military. Taylor was in the Air Force for about 6 years. And then, we moved states. And so now we have finally had the opportunity to settle down. And since we're no longer in the military, it has been such a blessing to own our own home, to make the updates that we want, to know that, Lord willing, we will live in this house for years to come, and that we will be able to make memories in this house. We can paint the walls and not have to paint them back. We can literally just enjoy this spot that the Lord has blessed us with. And, me being a minimalist, this is it's been so much fun. I love the space of this house. It's around 2,000 square feet, and, with 4 little kids and more, if that is God's plan, this is the perfect house for us. It just has so much space, and I love the knotty pine of the walls, the brick, the texture, the tile, the floor, like everything about this house, the big windows. It has just been like on my, dream house bucket list for so long, to have a house that is this cozy. And, I don't like a lot of stuff. I love a clutter-free, cleared house, and I love the warmth of this house, because I am not one of those minimalists that love a sterile home that's, all white. I've done that in the past because that was kind of my only option. But, when we were looking to buy a house, I wanted something with a lot of texture, a lot of warmth, because I don't like a lot of stuff, but I want my home to feel cozy, and I want it to feel inviting. I want there to be, warm lamps and, sconces with warm light and cozy curtains and, vintage oil paintings. I really crave a cozy yet minimal home, and this really is that for us, and we have just been enjoying it and loving it so much. It'll be a year, I think in April, that we have lived in this house. So we aren't even at a year yet, but we've done so many projects, so many updates to the house. Currently we're working on painting our bedroom and doing all of those updates, but it has been great. Even having chickens, you guys, the kids love it. Collecting eggs, it has been a dream come true, and I'm so thrilled that my kids get to grow up doing this. We had chickens for about a year or 2 growing up, and it was wonderful. So it is so great to get back to this lifestyle, this simple living. And, boys need to be outside. I truly believe that. Even girls, but boys more so. They have got to be outside. They can't be, cooped up watching TV. They need to run off that energy. And, if it's possible, I just hope that a lot of moms will realize, having just an acre or two will do wonders for your kids, or even just a really large backyard to start off. But being out here is great for them. They can burn off so much energy. They get to help with all the chores. They were, unloading the rick of firewood. As you can tell, our car is like absolutely packed to the brim with firewood. And the great thing is, Taylor actually got a chainsaw for his birthday. That's one thing that I got him. And now we get to, cut down our own trees on our own property. We've had quite a few trees that were dead, huge trees that were dead on the property. And so he has been working on cutting down the ones that he can and chopping up the firewood so that we can have seasoned firewood for next year. So that way we won't have to go and buy wood from somebody else. We definitely have learned, seasoned wood is what you want. And a lot of the wood that he's been cutting is still too wet and needs to be seasoned. So next winter, we are so thrilled that we will have all, as you can see in the background right there, all of our wood will be ready to go for winter. And that is such an exciting feeling, knowing that we can have, fires year round and it came from our property. So here I am just getting dinner ready. I actually, one of my goals for 2025 is to focus on cooking wholesome meals, from scratch. I do a lot of cooking, you guys. I truly love to cook. And so that was one of my goals. And tonight I just kind of looked through the pantry, grabbed a bunch of beans that I had, cooked up 2 pounds of hamburger, seasoned it with some taco seasoning that I had. I really love this Siete taco seasoning. It's really good for you. It doesn't have any fillers or lots of sodium. But that's what I did for dinner. Just threw something together. And it turned out so delicious, and it was enough for leftovers. And I decided to cut up this loaf. I did half of it. Everyone got some bread for dinner. And then I ended up actually cutting up the rest of the loaf and made a French toast casserole. So that way I had breakfast prepped for the morning time, because Taylor was working an early shift. And I just wanted to have breakfast ready so I could just throw it in the oven and dish it out to everyone. That honestly is the simplest thing right now, especially with having so many little ones that are always hungry the moment they wake up. So sometimes we do 2 breakfasts. Sometimes I'll make them yogurt and granola, and then we'll do the actual breakfast that's going to fill them up until lunchtime. But if you are a mom of littles, hunger is a big thing for little ones. So we don't do a lot of snacks. If you've watched some of my previous videos, I've talked about that. So I really try to focus on the main nutrition coming from their meals, and that will fill them up. So that's really just kind of how I do things, and it really helps them eat their food at dinner time. But honestly, I just love cooking. So here I am just getting everyone's bowl of food ready before everyone came inside. I think Taylor was still chopping up some wood. And honestly, it's so funny. I think I've touched on this before in a previous video. Every time I make everyone's food in a bowl, or just dishing out food, it just baffles me that I have 6 people in my family to feed. And it's such a blessing. I love it. I really do. But yeah, dinner turned out wonderful, and we ended up, eating dinner together, and then we did family worship, sang some hymns, and Taylor read from the Bible, and then we worked on the kids' catechism. We really love Brian Sauvé's catechisms. I think it's on Spotify. They are wonderful, and my kids sing them and memorize them pretty quickly because it's in a song format. So we really love those. So that's kind of what we did this evening, and then kind of read to the kids and then put them to bed. So that was kind of how our day went. I really am glad that I got to take you guys along with me throughout my day. Like I said, this day looked a little bit different because Taylor was gone with the boys, but it was kind of nice. I kind of just got to do my own thing and do some housework. And Ivy took a really long nap, and that was it's always nice when your little ones take a nap. She's actually been under the weather a little bit. She's had a cold, and so I think, sleep is the best medicine, and she really needed that good long nap. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and if you guys are new here, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I try to get out a video every week or so, kind of depends. Like I said, I'm a mom of 4, very busy, lots going on, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and be sure to comment down below, what are you guys doing this winter to stay warm and to just enjoy, being inside with your family.